Alright, so we have a turn 1 Thorn or Null Rod. I think we'll keep this, just because we're going to be able to run out both of those in our first 2 turns, hopefully. And being on the draw, we're going to kind of see which one is maybe better. So that's interesting. So 8 cards. Cabinet of Souls is great against a blue deck, so I'm glad to see that. So I think in this matchup, Thorn is going to be better than Null Rod. But because I have 8 cards in our blue deck, I think I'm going to run the Null Rod out first, just to see if I can get a Force of Will. So maybe they just don't care as much about, or that much about Null Rod. But it looks like we'll probably try to jam the Thorn next turn. So that's pretty bad. So this is going to be Oath. And our deck's going to have a hard time beating that. So I think we're going to have to play the War Chief and just kind of hope we naturally draw into our Sting Scourger the following turn. I don't know what I'm thinking. Can't do that. So we'll just run out the Thorn of Amethyst. Looks like maybe that would have been the right call last turn. Just buy us a turn. But I think we're just going to lose here. So interesting. This is that Saheeli Ray Oath deck. So what they do is they get 2 Saheeli Rays, and then they're able to loop a bunch of Sun Titans together and keep putting the Saheeli Rays into play. As one goes into play, one goes into the graveyard. They use the one that just came into play to copy a Sun Titan, which grabs the other Saheeli Ray, which comes on the battlefield, replaces one they've already used, and they're able to use to copy the Sun Titan and kind of loop that together. So if they have another Saheeli Ray in their graveyard, which it doesn't look like they do, they'd be able to go off next turn. So I think I'm just going to concede this game. I don't see us winning, and we'll bring in 4 Leyline of the Void, Aegis of the Gods. I like Wear Terror. So I can, I'm basically going to trade out these hate cards for other hate cards. I don't think we need Sieging Commander. And we probably don't need 4 ringleaders. So I could bring in a Path. I think I'll do that. I think I'll bring in a Path. We're boarding pretty heavily here. But I think it's gonna be tough for him to win with the Leyline of the Void. We're gonna have turn 1 Lackey, and we'll have Path mana up, possibly. I think this is pretty good. So Leyline of the Void's gonna shut off that the Planeswalker loop with the Sun Titans. So we're going to go ahead and get Plateau here. I think I'll just hang on to the Simian Spirit Guide. Okay, so that'll be forced. That actually might be fine. Let's just get our Thalia out next turn, hopefully. And then with their okay, so hopefully we'll draw a land here. We did not. So hopefully they're using up all the resources, trying to kind of just stall us out. But so Black Lotus. I think I'll use that to get Thalia down. I mean, maybe I could have waited a turn just in case there was a target for my, well, there probably wouldn't have been a target for my wear. So I really need to draw another white source. I think I have really good hand to kind of combat Oath if they're able to land one. Alright, white land, white land. Nope, another Thalia. So it looks like they're also off of land right now too. So it might be a race to see whoever can draw one. So Wasteland's pretty good, and even though I'm looking for land, I'm still going to get rid of this Forbidden Orchard. So interesting. So we are drawing land, just not really the lands that we want. So Stali is doing a lot of work for us. So they're one land away from casting Orchard, or Oath. which would be fine if we can draw a white land and not get countered. So that might be asking a lot. So see if they try to... So Plains Island, Tropical Island. So Soul Ring. I think I still take them off of their Tropical Island right now. I guess we can wait. There's no reason to use it right now. So there's our Aegis. So our hand is just stacked full of cards we want to see this matchup, but not without land. So I'm gonna destroy that Tropical Island. They're gonna gush, maybe. Yep. So I think I need to maybe spend these Simian Spirit Guides trying to destroy that Soul Ring with the Wear Tear. They probably have a counter with 9 cards in hand. 7 cards that we know aren't land. But if we let them untap, all they need to do is play that Tropical Island again, and they're going to have priority to play that. And they don't really do anything for us because all we need to do is just draw one. Well, no, we do need to have one to cast. No, I think we have to hold on to him. I think we have to hope for a white source, because we won't be able to cast a tear without one of these Simian Spirit Guides in hand. So this is a tough one. Well, no, actually it's not, because I don't have enough mana to cast that Wear anyway, because it's going to cost 3. So we don't need another Thalia. So here comes a Tropical Island. An Oath. And basically we have to hope that we draw a white source and that it doesn't get countered. Not great. So now maybe our plan is use the Simian Spirit Guides to cast Goblin Matron, look for a Sting Scourger, and then just hope we draw a land. I mean, if they're on Titan, all it does is kind of get them it does give them a Vigilant blocker. But it's going to take him 3 turns to get us. So, Brewski, Oath of Druids, what it does is it target, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses a target opponent who has more creatures than them. And if that opponent has more creatures than them, they may choose to reveal cards from the top of their library until they hit a creature card, and then they get to put that creature card directly into play. And so these decks, they only run 1 or 2 really impactful creatures. Usually you see like a Grizzlebrand or an Emrakul. This is kind of a different build. This uses Saheeli Ray, one of the new Planeswalkers, and Sun Titan. So Sun Titan's the only creature in their deck, and when the Sun Titan comes into play or enters the battlefield, it gets to put a 3 CMC card or less from your graveyard onto the battlefield. And so with Saheeli Ray, they're able to, if they have 2 Saheeli Rays, they're able to loop into infinite Sun Titans, which is pretty sweet. I do think I'm going to cast this Goblin Matron, looks for a Sting Scourger, and just kind of hope to draw that land. So the problem is they might have boarded into like Blazing Archon. They may have taken that combo out. And Blazing Archon basically says that all creatures without flying can attack, and it itself has flying. No, so they do still have the Sun Titan. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful strategy. I tend to play a lot of like creature-based decks, and so Oath matchups are usually pretty tough or even for me. They're not usually favored. So even against decks that don't run a lot of creatures, they run cards like Forbidden Orchard and maybe Beast Within that give your opponents tokens. So even if they try not to play out creatures, good night. Love you. So we might run this into a counterspell, but we're going to try to bounce the Sun Titan. The only alternative is just waiting for a like a Cavern of Souls, and I just don't. I think I'd rather risk just going into the counterspell there. So we are going to have an opportunity to draw into a white source, hit this path to exile. I might have wanted to run the attack with the Goblin Matron just so they couldn't Oath again. So that was actually probably my mistake. Yeah, so I think that was kind of a big mistake. Although they probably just would have gone down to 1. So this is kind of an unfortunate game. We saw a lot of cards that would have been really, really good in the matchup. We just had our Plateau Strip Mine. If they wouldn't have had that Strip Mine, then I think that this game would have been very different. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and concede there. I could have, I probably should have blocked the Sun Titan and at least got another creature on the board.